Mhm.
Hi, my name is Madison Essig, and I am a communications apprentice here at Respectability. I am honored to have the opportunity to interview Dani Izzie, who is an ambassador for Spinal. Dani is also the founder of Project Walk, a support group for young and international wheelchair users. As we celebrate Mother's Day coming up soon, I wanted to highlight mothers with disabilities such as yourself. Dani, we are so pleased you are with us today and look forward to learning more about you and how you are celebrating Mother's Day this year.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here and happy to meet you today, Madison.
Thank you so much. If you're fine, let's get into the interview questions.
Yeah, let's get going. Sounds good.
Yes. So my first question is, how did your life change after your fall?
Well, let's see. That was oh 13 years ago. I had a spinal cord injury that resulted from just falling down, just a freak accident. Um, it changed everything. It changed not only the way that I got around the world. Of course, I became a permanent wheelchair user. So not only did it change my mobility, I would say it shook me to my very core. And it, for a while, it made me question my identity. I didn't know who I was like in this new body, and I didn't know anything about living with a disability. So it was a huge adjustment, and at the beginning, it was very traumatic. But over time, I grew and I adapted, and a lot of wonderful things have come into my life, and I would say that all in all, I'm pretty blessed.
Yes, and that's amazing. I mean, all of your achievements that you have done is truly incredible. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Um, you're welcome. My second question is, when you became pregnant, what did you find were the perceptions around women with spinal cord injuries and having children?
Um, well, um, So obviously, I have been talking to a lot of other women with spinal cord injury and who had disabilities, other types of disabilities as well. I was talking to them to like get support and learn about, what life would be like and what it would be like to go through this pregnancy and then to become a parent. And honestly, a lot of people had negative experiences with obstetrics and gynecology. A lot of people experienced poor bedside manners from doctors and attitudinal barriers from doctors who actually told them, that they shouldn't have babies and or a baby and proposed to them that they um, pretty much get sterilized, or and so I had heard some negative things, so I was nervous getting into it. Luckily, I had wonderful doctors that were extremely supportive, and they kind of proved that wrong. But I know it's still an issue. And then I started becoming public with my pregnancy because I became involved in a documentary film about it. The film is called Dani's Twins. Um, and I'll talk about it a little more later. It does come out. It's going to come out at a film festival soon. But when I became more public, especially on social media, that's where I started getting some interesting responses to my twin pregnancy. I had people
Yes.
say, strangers on the internet, tell me things like, You are so selfish to be having children. Who's going to take care of your kids if you can't take care of yourself? All the burden is going to fall on your husband's shoulders. Just, it's awful, awful comments that no human being deserves to endure. Um, and that was pretty upsetting, but I think a lot of it is just, ignorance. These people have no idea who I am or what my lifestyle is like. They're clueless, and they need more exposure to people with disabilities and our lifestyles and the fact that we live normal lives too. We just do things differently.
Yeah, which I completely agree. I mean, I can personally attest to that because it's just important that we do that. So I completely understand. I
Yeah.
think this is actually a perfect time to talk about the documentary film. Would you like to tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So a friend of mine is a documentary filmmaker, and when found out that I was pregnant with twins, he thought that was really cool, especially as a quadriplegic woman. It's pretty rare, and so I agreed to allow them to document my pregnancy journey. So that started in January 2020. Sure enough, in the middle of filming, the pandemic started and we had to stop. And I was devastated, and we had put so much effort into it that I was like, no, I don't want to let this go. This story is so important for people to see. So my husband and I actually started filming ourselves, and we worked closely with the film team to learn like how to get the angles and get the shots and to coordinate, what we needed to get on video. Madison, I filmed myself in labor in the car. So when I was going into labor, I was like, we have to get this on camera. We didn't have the film crew there because of the pandemic, and I had to do it. So we filmed ourselves rushing to the hospital, and I went in for an emergency C-section when I got to the hospital, and we filmed an amazing moment where, Rudy was um, an intimate moment where he was just like nervous and talking straight to the camera. Anyway, so we ended up being able to finish the film later in the year. The film crew came and helped us tie it up. Um, but I do think like that element where we had to step in and take over makes it really special and authentic. So yeah, it's going to be at a film festival in May. I'm not allowed to say where yet, where we're premiering, but it's very exciting. Again, it's called Dani's Twins. You can look it up on the internet.
Yes. Well, I would definitely be checking that out when it comes out. Um, my third question is, how have you had to adapt the things that you have to do to be a mom and take care of your children?
You know, I um, I thought a lot about this while I was pregnant. Like, how am I going to do all this stuff? Like, where am I going to find adaptive equipment? Where am I going to find a special crib that I can reach, that I can access from my wheelchair? How am I going to feed two babies, not just one, especially having paralysis in my hands, There were so many questions, and I tried to prepare as much as I could, and I did find like a lot of adaptive tools and equipment. But when it comes down to it, I needed a lot of support. There are a lot of things that I simply can't do on my own, and that's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Um, I need assistance, right? So I need people around me that can help facilitate my mom duties, So my husband, he he does not have a disability, but he helps a lot. And his mom helps a lot, and my dad helps as well. So everybody pitches in, and it's amazing. Like, I love the fact that the grandparents are so involved in our kids' lives, and we have this tribe around us, that um, supports us and helps us, and that's a really beautiful thing. So
Yes, and I completely understand that support network is crucial.
yeah.
Yes. So, my fourth question is, how do you talk to your children about having a disability or people with disabilities?
Well, since right now they're only two, we talk about the wheelchair in a really positive way. Like, they just think my wheelchair is the most fun thing ever, and they like to sit on my lap and go for rides. And it's so funny because sometimes, like, they'll see things with wheels on them that they've never seen before. For example, a shopping cart at the grocery, and they call it a wheelchair. That's not a wheelchair, it's a grocery cart. But it's just so funny because they don't attach any, like, negative things to it. Like, they just see it what it is. It's a tool, right? And it's a fun tool sometimes. So I think as they grow up and they start to understand more, I'm really going to teach them that to look at disability in a neutral way. It's just a fact of life. Some people have disabilities. We don't need to attach anything else to that. We don't have to say, oh, it's a tragedy. Oh, they need to be cured. Or, oh, they're so inspiring. We can let the people with the disabilities tell their story, right? And we respect that. So I'm going to try my best to guide them on that, and to also teach others on how to interact with people with disabilities.
Yes, and that's something I actually do every day in my life,
I'm
whether
sure.
that's with my friends here at college or with other members of my family and everything, which is
Yeah,
really important.
right.
Mhm. So my
Yeah.
sixth question is, and this is actually a little bit of a personal question, even for me. I sometimes have people who stare at me, or who even or have said not nice things. This is sometimes in terms of my educational journey. Actually, I started in the Mason Life program here at George Mason University, and I was transitioning to become a full-time student into the class of 2022. And the program, well, not the program, but some people said that they did not fully support me in becoming a full-time student. Um, because they thought I should stay in the program and everything, and I had dealt with so many battles in that myself, and my family became involved at some point. And then after that, one of my good friends actually did as well. So it took a whole support network to get me to where I am. So my question is, how has this happened to you, and how do you deal with it?
Well, first of all, I'm really sorry. My heart hurts to hear that you had to go through all that struggle and that battle to have to prove yourself, and to have access to something that everybody else has the privilege to have access to. Um, and in terms of myself, I actually had some issues when I was in my graduate program. Um, it wasn't anything as bad as what you had to go through, but they made certain accommodations for me because of my disability. There was a disability resource center at the university where I was, um, and I needed things like you know what I needed? I needed extra time on testing, and I had to do testing at a separate facility because I used voice to text software. Um, I needed more time because when I type one letter at a time. I don't have all my fingers to use everything. And also, with my disability, sometimes I have to take long bathroom breaks. And I have issues with blood pressure where I get dizzy and need to stop and take breaks. So there's multiple reasons why I needed that accommodation. But I had a professor um, criticize me about my accommodations. He didn't understand why I needed extra time because he saw my physical disability and he thought that that didn't warrant extra time. And honestly, like, I didn't want to explain to him why I needed extra time because that's my private business. That's my private medical information that belongs to me. And I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't need to tell the professor that. That's between me and the Disability Resource Center. And it was really upsetting because it made me afraid that he would have like a negative bias against me and maybe even grade me unfairly because I think he thought that I had an unfair advantage. So, I definitely, and that's a discriminatory attitude right there, and ableism, as some people call it. And he didn't even realize it. And I wish I had, at the time, been able to sit down and have a conversation with him. I wish I could go back and educate him, you know. But yeah.
Which makes complete sense. My school alone, there's a lot of people with disabilities here that also do have accommodations, and there has been a slew of some people with their accommodations and how they weren't fully met. In
Yeah.
terms of some of their classes, for example, or other things like housing.
Right.
That was actually a problem for me as well. I'm in my senior year this semester here at school, and I was still getting my housing through the Mason Life program as I still have a couple of friends, and they wouldn't allow me to room with my friends. They were going to have me in a room by myself or whatever. So I had to talk to disability services,
Yeah.
and um, they helped, but not as much. They were on the same side as the program. And I had a meeting with them. Literally, I was back home in DC, and I had a online meeting with them, and it did not go well. I was advocating for myself, and halfway through, my mom was hearing what was going on as she
Yeah.
was in the room, like way across, and she came in, and she just she uh, she started basically yelling at them, saying that this is ridiculous. Madison should be able to live with who she wants. So that was also something that I dealt with, and yes, it did
Oh,
take my mom to help.
oh my gosh. I see. What are people thinking? Like, honestly, like, that's literally segregation. That's what I would have said. I would have said, you're segregating me. That's horrible. I'm so sorry. And I'm just glad that you are a great advocate for yourself and your mom is a great advocate for you as well. So thank God for that.
Thank you so much. I just have one last question. And since Mother's Day is coming up, um, I was just wondering, how are you going to celebrate Mother's Day this year?
Oh, I don't know. I hope my husband has something good planned. We'll see. Um, I think last year we went out to lunch at a little winery here in Virginia. I'm not sure what we're going to do this year. I can't wait to celebrate, being a mom, and I'm just so in love with these little babies that I got to have. And yeah, I can't wait. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
all the moms and all the kids, and even the people that, you know, don't have mother figures. My heart goes out to you as well.
Yes, I actually have no idea what I'm doing for Mother's Day because I am currently in Fairfax, Virginia, here at school, and I'm from DC. So it would be nice to actually go home to DC and actually celebrate Mother's Day with my mom back at home. So
Yes,
hopefully that will be squared away.
yes, that's amazing. We don't live too far from each other. I used to be in the DC area, and then we moved out to the country, out near Shenandoah. So I'm about 2 hours away from DC.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
those are all the questions I've had. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you. Thank
yes,
you so
great.
much for allowing me to interview you today, and good luck to you in your future endeavors.
You too. Thank you, Madison.
Thank you.
For more information, visit www.respectability.org.